UFC Mexico took place last night, and I'm going to go through every single, well, not every single fight, but a lot of the fights the UFC need to make for the next few months after the card last night. Let's just get straight into it. We'll start off with the main event. Lonely Kavanaugh versus Brandon Royval. Kavanaugh beat Brandon Moreno last night in the main event, as your boy predicted. But this is the right next step in my opinion. Moreno was coming off a loss to Tyra. I think he was ranked 6th in the division. Obviously, he lost to Royval a couple of years ago. And now Kavangh is just beating him on short notice in Mexico, in the main event, 5-rounder. Great performance. So now I think Royval's the next logical step. I don't think they'll rank Kavangh at number 6, which is where Moreno was. I think he might be like number 7, number 8. But I think Royval's going to be around number 4. Obviously, it might change with other fights that are going on in the division right now. But I think this is the good next step. I think this should be what Van versus Royval was last year. Feature fight or just on the main card of International Fight Week. Apparently, we might be getting Conor on that card. So imagine like a Conor main event. And then, I don't know what else the card would be because I can't think off the top of my head. But yeah, this one there, this is going to be a fun fight. Title eliminator, kind of. Not a number 1 contender fight, but obviously, like if Royval loses this, he's out the title picture. Probably for good. If Kavangh loses this, he's out the title picture for now. Because as soon as you beat Moreno, you're somewhat in the title picture. I do think Kavangh is still 2 wins away. And obviously Royval would have to be one of them. If he loses to Royval, it's probably like 3 or 4 away. But yeah, this is a good next step. I think Royval's slightly better than... Actually, I don't know, because Moreno did look washed. Either way, this is a good step up for Kavangh. On the main card of a pay-per-view. You could even do it as a Fight Night main event, but I don't think they should. Just because they'd probably put it in the Apex. Maybe they put it on an English card. Hopefully they come back to England in the summer. Maybe main event Paddy versus like Hooker or something. Or they come back for a pay-per-view if Tom's healthy. Who knows? But this is a sick fight. This should be next. It's going to be entertainment. So yeah. Lonely Kavanaugh versus Brandon Royval. Hopefully in the summer. As for Moreno, I think you just rebook the Asu Almabayev fight. I think by the time Almabayev recovers from his injury, probably line up to where Moreno is looking to come back. I think you could put this on the main card of the Noche card they always do in September. This could be like a good co-main event. I don't want this for 5 rounds after seeing Moreno last night. This in a 3-rounder. I think by the time they fight, Moreno will be around like number 8 or 9. Almabayev will probably be number 10. So I think this makes sense ranking-wise. Almabayev's won like 3 or 4 in a row since that cap fight. Actually, it might be less. It might only be 2. Either way, he's looking good. Well, he's looking alright. He's winning fights. He's not looking great in them. Moreno's looking very fucking washed. But maybe we'll see if it's not an elevation and against someone as good as my boy Lonely Kavanaugh. Maybe it'll look a bit better. So yeah, Moreno, Almabayev, Noche card in just over 6 months. So I think that's a good timeline for them both. Now in the co-main event, David Martinez versus Davison Figueiredo. Well, in the co-main event, Davison Martinez beat Chito Vera. But I think this is a sick fight for him next. Figgy coming off a loss. Jesus. Martinez on a 3-0 in the UFC now. Already ranked in the top 10. I think Figgy's about number 6. So it makes sense ranking-wise. Obviously, Figgy, he's 1-3 in his last 4. Which sounds like, might be washed, blah, blah, blah. And you look at who he's fighting. Like the guys he's losing to, it's like Peter Yan, champ of the division. Arguably the best bantamweight ever, skill-wise. Actually, I don't think it is arguable. I think he is. Corey Sandhagen, top 5 guy. Umar Nurmagomedov, top 3 guy. Potential future champ. Probably will be at some point. Like, it's not like Figgy's losing to these bums. He's losing to, like, top guys in the division. And he beat Montel Jackson, like, a year ago. He was, like, an upcoming... It's not as good of a prospect as Martinez. But no, I say a year ago. It was literally, like, 4 or 5 months ago now. And they came back really quick and lost to Umar. But I think this would be a good next step. I think it'd be a fun fight as well. Good stylistic matchup. Do this on, like, a... This could also be a main card of a pay-per-view. You could even do it on the Fight Night. Maybe they go back to Brazil in like May or something. Who knows? You could do this as like the co-main event and do, I don't know who they would do in the main event, but maybe Diego Lopez or something. Even though he's kind of Mexican as well. Who knows? But yeah, this would be a sick fight. Martinez, Figgy, good next step for him after beating Cheeto. And as for Cheeto, fuck it. Finally give Raoni Barcelos his ranked opponent. I don't know what he's done to not deserve this, or what he hasn't done to deserve this, I guess. But I think, especially after Talbot beat Henry Cejudo as well as he did, and looked as good as he did, I don't think you can avoid giving Barcelos a ranked opponent now. I think it's 4 in a row. I think he beat Quinones first, who obviously just won last night, but it was against Matinho, that doesn't matter. Then I think it was Talbot, and then Cody Garbrandt, and then Ricky Simone. I think that's it, right off the top of my head. I know he's beaten those 4 guys recently. He might have lost to Umar in between. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I think he'd beat Cheeto. Cheeto was just washed, man. Like, he was never that good to begin with, but he looks even worse now somehow. So I think Barcelos would win this. I think they should run this again in the summer. A lot of these are going to be in the summer. Cheeto didn't take too much damage. Barcelos last fought in November, I believe. It was a bit of a scrap. So yeah, that makes sense for the both of them. Cheeto, Barcelos. I think Cheeto will be ranked around number 12 after this. And I think Talbot's number 13. So it would make sense if Barcelos wins, goes above Talbot. Yeah, this would be a good fight. Barcelos, give him his ranked opponent. We'll move down the card. I've missed Bobby Green. We'll get to him next. Edgar Chairez versus Rates at Sura. I mean, it's just a decent fight outside the rankings, you know what I mean? Rates at Sura, he lost to Van, and I think he was scheduled to fight. I'm not even going to try to say his name. The guy who's fighting Cody Durden this weekend. I think he pulled out. I think he got injured or something. And I think this would be a good fight next, you know. Last night we had the Battle of Van Sons. Obviously, Chairez moved on. Now he gets to fight another one of them. And this would be a good fight. Prelims of a pay-per-view. Fuck it. I keep saying it. International Fight Week. Mexican versus a Japanese guy. Why not? Yeah, I think this would be a good fight. Chairez also fought Tatsuro Taira, who's Rated Sura's teammate. Fucking hell, that was hard to say. So that could be a little storyline going there. I think Chairez, he didn't look too good last night, but I do think that was partly because of the elevation. He took a year off. He had a rough round 1. But yeah, I think it should be a good next step. And if Rey Teshurio wins, it's like, oh shit, you know, he's beating a decent guy outside the rankings. Because the only people who've beaten Chairez in the UFC are Van and Tyra, and they're literally fighting for a title next month. So, you know, I do think he's pretty decent. And yeah, this would be a good prelims of a pay-per-view fight, you know what I mean? This just is an International Fight Week fight, you know what I mean, on the prelims. And yeah, get that booked now. Now we'll go to Bobby Green. I think this is the most obvious one. Him versus MJ, as long as MJ wins. Even if MJ loses this weekend, I think it'd be fair enough. But, yeah, 2 unks. Somehow, I'm 99% sure they've never fought each other. They might have when I was like 3 years of age. But, like, they're both on win streaks. Especially, well, as long as MJ wins this weekend. I think they both be on like Bobby would be on a 2-fight win streak. I think MJ would be on like a 3-fight win streak or something. I think he'd be a Zaitar and then Zellhuber and then potentially Dober. And yeah, this fight, okay, they definitely haven't fought. I just double checked. I knew they hadn't in the last like 10 years, but I didn't know if they did way before. But yeah, this main card of a fight night in front of a crowd, feature fight or something like that. That's when this needs to be. Don't bury this on the prelims of a pay-per-view. Get this on like a fight night with like a sick main and like number 1 contender fight in the main event. Co-main event, like a top 10 guy versus a guy just outside the rankings potentially, and then this is the feature fight. I mean, that's what they got to do with this fight. Don't waste it on like the prelims of a pay-per-view when no one cares. So yeah, Bobby versus MJ. Winner can maybe get a ranked opponent next. Probably, especially if Michael Johnson wins. If Bobby wins, maybe not, just because he's already lost to basically half of the rankings. But yeah, we'll move on. Who have I got next? Imanol Rodriguez versus Sumu Derji. Sumu Derji's fighting this weekend against Aguilar, I think. Yeah, I think this would be a good fight, even if he loses, because obviously Imanol just beat Borjas, Sumu Derji beat Borjas. I think, you know, it's a logical next step up. I do think he's going to beat Aguilar, and I don't think he'll take too much damage. This is where he gets flatlined in a round. And obviously then we'd have to do something different. But yeah, Imanol Rodriguez, he didn't look great against Borjas. It was a sick fight, and I know everyone's hyped, and I do think Imanol is very good. But There are some concerns. He's kind of small for the division, which is crazy because it's flyweight. But the current champ's small for the division, so who cares? So yeah, make this a few months' time. Good step up for Imanol. You know, these fights I don't even need to explain. You know what I mean? It's outside the rankings. Get the contenders against some. No, get the prospects against some decent guys outside the rankings. You don't want to give him like a match now because he's gonna knock him out or submit him in the first round. It's gonna be like, okay, what did we learn from that? You know what I mean? I know Sumi Derji lost to Schnell, but whatever. And then last fight I got here, Luna versus Brad Katona. I don't even know if Brad Katona is still employed by the UFC. He probably shouldn't be, but I couldn't see anything saying he'd been cut. So he might even have retired. I don't even know. But if he hasn't, and if the UFC do still employ him, I think this would be a good next step. Katona sucks, but so does Pacheco, who is the guy Luna just beat last night. Luna's still 21, and he's improving a lot between fights. You know, he got hit a lot less last night than he did in this fight against Lee. I think if he keeps making these steady improvements, by the time he's like 23, 24, he could be a real top contender in the division. And it's a bantamweight, which is a tough division, you know. So yeah, Brad Katona next. I think his last fight was when he got slumped by Beck in a round, and that was about 10 months ago. And I don't think Luna's going to want to take too much time off, so they could schedules could line up well. You know, Katona could probably be looking to get back in there in about 2-3 months. Luna's young. You know, you see these young guys, they fight every like 2-3 months as well sometimes, especially with like the case of Van or whatever. So yeah, I think this should be the next fight to make. And that's all the ones. I think obviously the main ones, like with the guys like Luna, there's 15 different guys that could fight next. It just depends what the UFC want to do with them. But I think the main one was this. I think this should be the next fight. Makes sense. Great stylistic fight. It's going to be a banger. You know what I mean? If you see this on the card, if like let's say they do International Fight Week and in the main event it's Conor Chandler. If you see Conor Chandler in the main event and then this as well on the main card, as well as like he's just a guy that you know is going to be fun. Even if they add like Bobby Green on it or something. Also, there's one more thing I want to say. This is what I think the UFC should do. Also, he called out Nate Diaz. If Nate wants to come back, do Bobby versus Nate at the White House. That's all I am going to say. But yeah, imagine like this is like a co-main event to Conor Chandler. I'd enjoy that. But yeah, this is the main one. The rest of them, outside of like Cheeto and that, they're slightly more. The guys outside the rankings, there's more options, but I think these are the main ones. I do think they should rebook this fight. And yeah, that's it. I think my next video will probably just be the predictions for UFC 326 this weekend. Pretty good. Well, it's not a great card. It's just a glorified fight night with a great main event. But yeah, that'll probably come out tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a more in-depth Charles Max breakdown. Couple card builders coming up. The UFC's looking up, I'm going to be honest. After that 327 announcement and after Kavangh one last night, I'm hyped. So yeah, that's all the fights they should make. Thanks for watching and yeah, subscribe, all that shit.